The Beverly Hillbillies was an American sitcom that aired on CBS on September 26, 1962, and ran for 9 seasons until it eventually ended March 23, 1971. Audiences fell in love with the zany cast of characters and were perpetually amused by the clever writing and hilarious acting. The classic sitcom may have ended decades ago, but it remains incredibly popular among dedicated fans, and it's had a great impact on TV shows over the years. The show was created by Paul Henning, who came up with the clever idea of a rural family existing in an upper-class community while visiting Civil War battle sites in the South. In its early stages, Henning at first imagined placing the Clampett family in New York, but after toying with the idea, he decided to put them in California. And so, the Beverly Hillbillies were born. While Paul Henning helped create shows like Petticoat Junction and Green Acres, the Beverly Hillbillies was the crowning jewel of his career. The show begins with the Clampett family, an impoverished family of hillbillies who live in the mountains. Character Jed Clampett discovers a swamp rich in oil while hunting one day, and a surveyor from an oil company offers them $25 million to drill on their land. Suddenly rich, the family moves to Beverly Hills. The rustic and unsophisticated lifestyle of the Clampetts clashes with the socialites of Beverly Hills, but they bring a down-home set of morals that sometimes changes the upper-class folks for the better. The witty premise of the show drew in viewers of all economic backgrounds. While hillbillies have often been looked down upon by wealthier members of society, the show taught many people to appreciate the simpler things in life, as well as to not underestimate people just because they don't have an impressive career or educational background. Of course, while the show did offer some insightful morals, the chief reason audience members were so enraptured by the Beverly Hillbillies was the fast-paced comedy. Viewers from all over the country loved to tune in to the latest crazy shenanigans of the Clampett family. While the show appeared light and silly, there was a lot going on behind the scenes. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the surprising behind-the-scenes secrets of the Beverly Hillbillies. Make sure you stick around, because we're also going to reveal one of the grisly secrets behind the show's iconic mansion. Critics weren't a fan of the show. Today, the Beverly Hillbillies is still legendary for its popularity. While many shows lose their luster over time, the Beverly Hillbillies remained a household favorite for its 9 years on TV. Audiences adored the show. However, the same couldn't be said for critics, who often bashed it for its lowbrow humor. Most critics thought the show wasn't funny at all, and one even described it as being painful to sit through. Despite these claims, however, the show still earned 7 Primetime Emmy Award nominations. The only thing fans and critics alike could agree on was the feature film, created 30 years after the show ended. While audiences weren't as disgusted by the film as critics, they still didn't like it nearly as much as the beloved series. The dark secret behind the Clampetts' mansion. The iconic mansion owned by the Clampett family has a surprisingly dark history. The show's producers were able to lease the mansion for a low price, but this was because someone already lived there. The original owner of the mansion was named Arnold Kirkaby, who tragically died in a plane crash. His widow relented when asked if the mansion could be used for filming, likely because she needed a new source of income to maintain the property. She said the studio could film there on the condition that the address would never be released to the public. Unfortunately, dedicated fans were able to discern the mansion's location anyway, and soon people took long trips to get a glimpse of the famed manor. The impressive career and near retirement of Buddy Ebsen. Buddy Ebsen was one of the most important and iconic actors in the Beverly Hillbillies, but he nearly didn't accept the role of Jed Clampett because he planned on retiring. Even after the huge success of his appearance in the 1961 film Breakfast at Tiffany's, Ebsen was experiencing some difficulties with contract disputes. However, he finally agreed to act in the Beverly Hillbillies, which effectively renewed his career. He continued to act until just a few years before his death in 2003, starring in popular films and TV shows like Barnaby Jones. A bizarre mistake. The Beverly Hillbillies may have been an American sitcom, but it was incredibly popular across the globe. The show was being broadcast in a host of European countries. However, in the days before the internet, international communication often suffered from misinterpretation. As a result, one Dutch TV station mistakenly believed the show was over in 1966. even though the show was at the peak of its popularity. The company, NCRV, didn't even realize the show continued to run until 1971. It wasn't until 1973 they realized their fatal mistake. The poor Dutch viewers missed out on 6 years of the beloved show. Thankfully, that sort of thing is far less likely to happen today. Behind-the-scenes tensions. Audience members loved to watch the hilarious family shenanigans of the Clampetts. However, while the Clampetts appeared to be quite chummy on screen, this wasn't exactly the case behind the scenes. Buddy Ebsen and Nancy Culp, who played Jed and Miss Jane Hathaway respectively, had a lot of bad blood. While they tried to keep things professional for the sake of the show, things sometimes got out of hand. Still, the two were able to act alongside one another and convince the nation they were close family members right up until the very end of the show. While the Beverly Hillbillies had a fittingly happy ending, the same couldn't be said for The Mansion. Make sure you stick around until the end, where we'll reveal the tragic end of that famous mansion. And if you're enjoying this video so far, take a minute to like it and subscribe to our channel for more. A surprising fashion impact. You may be surprised to learn the Beverly Hillbillies actually caused a new fashion sensation. After all, you wouldn't usually imagine hillbillies to be trendsetters. However, celebrities, films, and popular TV shows have always been one of the main sources of new fashion crazes. In the 1960s, Levi's jeans became the hottest new fashion, all because of the character Ellie Mae. Fans loved the way she rocked those cut-off jeans and soon had to go out and buy a pair for themselves, which certainly helped boost Levi's sales. Buddy Ebsen's dedication to his character. Despite Buddy Ebsen's original reluctance to join the show, he became incredibly dedicated to portraying his character. He wanted Jed Clampett to feel authentic to the viewers, so he began to play bluegrass music with a variety of instruments native to the Appalachian Mountains. He became so good at it, he even released some of his music to the public, much to the delight of his fans. How the Beverly Hillbillies destroyed Max Baer Jr.'s acting career. Max Baer Jr. played the iconic role of Jethro Bodine, Jed Clampett's not-so-bright nephew. The role brought him huge success while the show was running. After it ended, however, he found it actually hurt his career as an actor. Producers and directors simply couldn't imagine him as anyone other than Jethro, and he was unable to be cast in new shows and films. As a result, he retired from acting. Thankfully, he still had other talents. After the Beverly Hillbillies, he took to working behind the scenes as a director, screenwriter, and producer. Legal mistakes. There's a lot of legal procedure that goes into making a show. Copyrights and contracts are a huge deal and have a massive impact on a show. Unfortunately, the channel that aired the Beverly Hillbillies, CBS, forgot to renew the show's rights after a couple seasons. This meant the Beverly Hillbillies entered public domain, and now you can find all those episodes all over the internet as well as on DVDs and VHS. Since they're in the public domain, CBS can't control who reproduces or views the content, and as a result doesn't make much money off those episodes. The tragic end of the Clampetts mansion. The Beverly Hillbillies had an amazing run of 9 seasons, and while audience members were sad to see it go, they still felt ultimately satisfied by its ending. The famous mansion where the Clampett family lived, however, didn't have such a satisfying fate. Its price skyrocketed due to the popularity of the show, and sold for an incredibly high price after it ended. However, the new owner decided to demolish the original mansion and build a new structure on the property. The Beverly Hillbillies remains a classic favorite TV show to this day. Were you more surprised to learn about the tensions behind the scenes, or the legal slip-up that led to some of the episodes to become part of the public domain? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to FactsVerse for more.